is probably well known to many, is Katherine O'Sullivan, General Manager of O'Donnell Furniture down in Skibbereen, beautiful part of the world or whatever, okay? I personally have had a lot of engagement with Katherine and with O'Donnell, and a truly excellent company. Katherine is going to talk us through the building of O'Donnell's export business, okay? And then at the end of this session, Katherine will be taking over from me for the breakout sessions, and then we'll come together at the very end for a review. So Katherine, the floor is yours for the next 15-20 minutes.
No bother. Can you all hear me? Yeah. Can you
we
hear
can
me?
hear you, but your screen.
Perfect. My screen is moving there now, hopefully. Yeah. I'm just going. That us? Can you
and
see
it's
my
up
screen?
Now. Perfect.
Brilliant.
Perfect.
Okay,
yeah.
So thanks, Stephen, for introducing me there. And so for anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Katherine O'Sullivan. I'm General Manager with O'Donnell Furniture. We're based in Skibbereen in West Cork, in close enough to the most southerly tip of Ireland. Okay, so what we do down here is we have a manufacturing facility, and we produce furniture for the hotel industry and for the residential industry, high end, and also for the cruise liners. Just see now my screen move along. Okay, so that's just an image of our manufacturing facility, which is spanning 60,000 square foot, and at the moment having a staff in the region of about 35. COVID has had a little bit of an impact, but we're managing that also. So just a little bit of history in the company. In its current formation, it's there since 1970s, okay, and it is a market leader now in the case good manufacture. We provide project management also, and we also do the install of our furniture to our projects, and our projects are in Ireland, the UK, and Europe mainly, and we would work with architects, designers, main contractors, hotel operators, and as you'll have heard from my pre-speakers today, both Joe Frieda and Dominic Ryan, there can be many parties involved in different stages of the work that we do, many conversations, and we really, a lot of the time, are the last people on a site, so it can be complex. Those relationships can be complex. So that's just a little bit more about the company there now. That so it's the 4-star, 5-star hotel, and we have ISO accredited, and we are currently working to get accredited for the 14,001 environmental, very close to that, and which is very important to us. And we're FSC and PFEC also accredited and certified. There's a picture of the team, so just you can just see the scale and the body of the people down here. Okay, now the purpose of my part here to hopefully assist yourselves is our export story. So basically, O'Donnell Furniture started as a family business in Ballyhop, which is outside of the main town here, in the 70s, manufacturing pine furniture for the domestic market. And then they progressed from there to making occasional furniture for a company, an international marketing group, which were Link International. Link International, they were exporting those goods back in the early 80s to the USA, was a predominant market, and in the UK. And then the dollar collapsed, so the USA market basically just came to a standstill, but the UK market came to the forefront at that point. And the UK market became very demanding and wanted double output, so the business scaled up and they expanded from their premises of 5,000 square foot in Ballyhop to where the current premises, but just into one half of it. That has since been again expanded in 2006 to the current one now of 60,000 square foot. So in all that was very good. And then in 1988, the market was very good. UK was doing so. USA had collapsed, but UK had filled that hole, and that was great. In UK collapsed, and the business had to pivot and rethink and look at other opportunities. So I suppose some of the key things there for people who are considering exporting or are exporting, and as the pre-speakers have said today, it's just the versatility within exporting. It's great. you definitely don't take one market at a time, but at the same point, never be over-reliant on one totally, because as O'Donnell's have experienced there in the early years, a market you can be very dependent on can collapse as well in a very short space of time. So you need to diversify portfolio. That led then to working with Caulfield Furniture when the searching went on for what they could do from that occasional furniture when that market seemed to collapse. And that led into the first hotel project, which was in Dublin. And further market research, which was also referred to earlier, particularly by Joe, that then led O'Donnell to decide that the UK market was the place to expand into for once they had done some hotel projects in Ireland. So the first one was exported into the UK in 1990, and the project there was the Hilton Olympia at the time. And then in 95, the Clarence Hotel in Dublin was a project done, and a Metropolitan Hotel in the Park Lane, London, were jobs that were done in 95. And the real boost then was that Vogue magazine did an article on the top 10 hotels in the world, and both those aforementioned jobs were named, and O'Donnell had furnished the two of them. So that completely pivoted us up into the sight of many architects and designers then. So again, it's just getting those opportunities and taking those opportunities that can come from anywhere as you're going through markets. So then Terence Conran Design House, from the previous point, he had his first hotel in London, so he wanted O'Donnell's to purchase. So from there, then the business grew, reputation, attention to detail, quality product and the service. So the UK remains the primary export market. At this point, we've management team there, and we don't have a showroom, where some of the case studies today said they had showrooms. We haven't done that. What we do is we showcase products with the agreement of our customers that we would have previously done, and this works for in order for us to win the next jobs. So with regard to the exporting, it went from there. Other countries that we have been active in, but not to the UK, as I say, remains our primary. We had Denmark. So what I've done here is just listed some of the challenges, and there will be a little bit of repetition here from some of the other speakers earlier. So in Denmark, we had the Copenhagen, so the unions were a challenge there. So we had to learn how to address that and deal with that, which we did. So each of the challenges we've overcome, but until you actually have to address them and deal with them, you don't realize it's that learning, it's the learning piece of it. We did work in Germany, that was more straightforward. France, Paris was difficulty with logistics and the height of lorries getting in, and times, there were certain times you could get in and out of the city, a bit like Dominic said earlier about the palace getting in and out to do that. Switzerland is outside of the EU, so we would have a challenge with visas for workers there, borders delays. An example is one of our trucks was 20 minutes too high. It got impounded, sat inside, impounded then for 2 days with our goods on it. So you have those challenges. So I suppose it's stuff like that now that makes Brexit is a concern. But I mean, again, it's just another challenge, and we can deal with that as well. So in summary, trading with the EU can be divided into kind of two areas from our learnings, really. You have the supply of goods, which is pretty straightforward. Once you get your product made, get it out, that's good. The supply of the service is the piece that is trickier for us. And again, to the reference, which is good when you see continuation, both from Dominic and Joe earlier, that like the culture, the language, and the legislation, like the taxes, the employment laws, they can be quite challenging in the countries, and you really do have to take the advice from someone either on the ground in there or through your own tax advisors. But you have to, in order for it to work, you have to set up correctly within it. So we have a few experiences, and we've worked with consultants on the ground in the countries for us. It's worked in relation to developing the markets and opening the doors. However, we have found once we have our feet on the ground, that actually working with a local supplied in provider fitters or employees at that point, once we're established, is better because they have better knowledge, they'll have the language, and once you form that partnership with them and build that relationship and trust, then we supply the product and they will get the work done. And it's certainly proving to be the easier way in for what we supply and do to get done. So that's developing the partnerships, so really, as I say there, my summary line, it's through collaboration and partnership that we've grown and we will continue to grow. It's just working together really, and I think even COVID has probably done that a little bit for everyone. You have to take a step back and see what you're actually doing. So the other thing that like we have and other ones have to take consideration as we're going, and we've had varying speakers today and varying experiences, varying trends, legislation, etc. But the EU is an unusual continent and is divided into 27 countries that are very different and independent, yet we're all trying to work together. So it's just we have to work together, but we have to embrace each other's cultures, and the languages. So you really do need those people based in the countries that you can work with and trust. So for us, in our trip of growth, we have been on the steering committee. Both myself and AOD were at the very first meeting of the IWFM, which didn't exist as the IWFM on the day, back almost 3 years ago. And we would be strong advocates of that. We need an organisation like this, and like today's conference will show that as well. It's just that collaboration across Europe, so we need a pitch. So the IWFM has been very useful to us in our growth, and we're hoping we're giving back to that as well, and the learnings from EFIC, etc. And then the Enterprise Ireland, obviously, is the other key player to us, and that's also been mentioned a number of times today. It's the Market Discovery Fund, and taking it step by step, and as Joe said earlier, do the research on where you want to go, and give it the time and the dedication that it needs. It is a slow burner, but once you are set up in a base, it can be really, really successful for you. And it's just watching for those opportunities as they appear, because sometimes you can get the opportunities that you don't see coming your way, but you have to grab them when they come. But also not to forget, at the very outset of the export story, O'Donnell's were trading into markets that did collapse, so you are exposed to that as well. So it's the robustness and the flexibility of being able to withstand any economic situations, which is something we're dealing in at the moment. I suppose to close it up, really, again, it's just through collaboration and partnership. At the moment, we have obviously challenges with COVID and Brexit, have put them in their. Brexit is a challenge, but like it goes without saying, and I've done plenty of talks on Brexit and supported EI, etc. over the last 4 years. But challenge or no challenge, they're our closest neighbour in the UK, so we have to embrace it and find a way of making it work. So we can take the advices from the Revenue, Customs, EI are going running more webinars in the next few weeks. So we have to do that. With COVID though, COVID is an interesting one. It's open for change and innovation, but COVID definitely lends itself, from our perspective, from O'Donnell's perspective, to the export story, because what was interesting was that because we are working in different geographic locations, it meant that as lockdowns went into the different countries at different times, it meant that we were able to keep operations going, although at a reduced rate, but we were able to keep them going throughout the COVID experience. So we haven't had to stop trade. We have had to close our doors, but we've been able to manage it through partners and into having projects in different countries. So it's very important from that point of view, because it just gave us that opportunity and diversity as well to keep us going. So there are risks and opportunities when deciding to export. There are supports through Enterprise Ireland to help you to identify the market for you and to grow therein, and collaboration and partner opportunities to organisations such as IWFMN will again assist with the experiences. So that's our story. Just a few images at the end. The projects have been finished recently. So that's Royal Lancaster Hotel in London. And then we have some Irish projects in there also, in down in Kinsale, one in Dublin. And then we have monitoring London in the at sea containers. There's a list of some of our customers or clients which span through Ireland, the UK and Europe. And as I say, it's through the opportunities because many of them have footholds across many countries anyhow. So it's building that relationship from the outset. So that's it, and that's just some contact details there at the end. So that's our story.
Oh, Katherine, as ever, great story. I mean, I take my hat off to anybody involved in exporting, but anybody who is as remote as you are from points of exit out of the country with a product that needs to be shipped, okay, and which impacts on the cost, I think it's a tremendous story.